Defender of the Faith. So this seems like a pretty passive one. Technically a Witcher contract? Technically one that we've completed? Probably not. I don't know. Not immediate. Oh, there it is. Technically saying that it's a level 10 mission. Don't know why, but there are theoretically 2 other such shrines for us to restore. I don't know if there are actually enemies there at some point that we'll have to fight, but...
Stinks of guardian corpse to me.
Okay.
What is it,
More people affiliated with the Baron. Noted, and we are here in Blackbrook.
We shouldn't. We can't lose hope.
So happy to have gotten the fast travel location. You are a merchant of some variety. Ooh, why hello there, good sir. One moment while I
got on offer.
Unload our inventory, and then we will deal with our more important matters. What is this? This looks like it has an exclamation point next to it, which would suggest that this is significant call to clues on the map to find some Witcher gear. Ooh. Now, maybe, theoretically, we could find it ourselves. I'm assuming that it is a given location that already exists on the map, and it's just by purchasing this map from this guy, we could go there immediately. So, it's basically a convenience fee, if nothing else, but for 15 coins when we have, again, over 1,600, I think we're definitely fine there. And other than that, what does he have? Fifth Essence is an alchemy ingredient. I don't know how many of those we do or do not have, but I think we will be fine at this moment without it, because I don't believe we are really holding out for it. Not like we've been waiting for a really long time to get that specific thing. More importantly, this. I have no idea how much we should bet, because I have no idea how good this guy is, so let's go middle ground.
A few rounds of cards.
Yeah, I suppose so. Why not? Okay, so we have picked up some new cards recently, I think. Mostly the Commander's Horn is what comes to mind. And has been a while since we last played Gwent. So, trying to remind myself as to what cards we have, and therefore which ones we might want to get rid of. Make room for this one, because I think the one that we have there, the Horn, is better. This guy is just a 1 strength, but he adds +1 to all units in the row, excluding himself, so if we have lots of people in the siege row, he can be a lot better than the one would suggest. Is he still our weakest card? That may still be the case. Otherwise, presumably it would be Blue Stripes Commando. Although you can double the strength if you have 2 of them next to each other. That does seem pretty decent in that case, so I think we do 3 of these guys. Whereas, by comparison, what this does is doubles the strength of all unit cards in a row, limited to 1 per row. That seems really good. Double versus +1. Seems like I ought to take double. And then I think we had a new full test leader card. Let me see. Oh, I was pressing the wrong button to change leader cards. Hold on. Let's see. So, that is the leader card button. Doubles the strength of all your siege units unless a Commander's Horn is also present in that row. So, that would be reason to deliberately target the siege units, and that's what we just swapped out. But I think we'll still be okay. That might be something to consider switching back around if we find ourselves struggling a bit against this guy, but I think we're ready to get this thing started. Not enough unit cards. Oh, well, in that case, sure, throw this guy back in. We still need, oh, we need 1 more unit card. Okay, I guess. Oh, because we were trying to get rid of unit cards for this thing, the Horn, which is technically not a unit. So we were not reaching our unit card threshold. our requirement. Okay, so I do think that technically means our total card number is higher than it has to be, which is maybe not ideal, but we'll make it work. Okay, so here we go. And now, admittedly, I must say that I have been playing a fair bit of the GWENT standalone game, which is dangerous because it is similar to the GWENT that we're playing right now in the actual Witcher 3 game, but just different enough that I'm probably going to end up mixing up mechanics between the two of them, and it's going to make me do things that are not, that would have made sense in the standalone game, but not make sense in the Witcher 3 version of GWENT. So that is a potential concern that I have at the moment. There are even cards with the same name. Let's see. But I like having two of these guys in our hand, because they're the ones that if you play next to each other, they get double strength. So that sounds good. This guy, what is the deal with you? Place next to a card with the same name, same idea, and get double strength. Don't think we have another one of them, though. Feel like we ought to get rid of one of our weather effects. We have one for each row, which is kind of nice. No, you know what? Maybe we are good. We have one other siege unit. Let's swap this guy out. I think with one siege unit, that's not so great. Oh, 3 of these guys, that's amazing. Okay, let's go with this then. Okay, so we go first. And, I mean, this is obviously going to be a setup at some point. It's mostly just a matter of, do we want to do this in the first round, or do we want to try to save it? And not sure what the correct answer is. Feel like we might want to go for it now. And then, although once we do that, we're going to only have, what? 2, 3 unit cards remaining? Yeah, so maybe rocking the 3 weather cards was a little too extreme. We'll see. We'll see. We're going to go rather aggressive first round here, I think, and go for all 3 of these guys. We may not need to play all 3 of them. Could be that our opponent opts to do something like pass. Would be great. That makes it so that that is no longer necessary for us to play all of them. All right, what is the deal with this guy? What is your deal? How do I actually see the information about you? Is there just nothing? You're just a simple 5? You have no bonus effect? Yeah, looks like it would have told us there was, and it didn't, so there is not. Simple 5, which does mean that if we play this, we will be in a pretty strong place compared to our opponent. And that guy is a similar type of opponent, right? I just missed the description. It's also a type bond. Yeah, so he's also going to get doubled if he has another one in his hand to play next to it. We, however, have a whole bunch of these guys, giving us some major bonuses. Presumably, yeah, that would be an instance when our opponent would say, okay, you win, that's enough. And so what he did was he played a spy, which makes us stronger, but gives him the ability to draw 2 cards. So he already knew he was losing, so he was like, okay, no big deal. I'll give you additional strength in order to make myself more powerful for future rounds. That works. Let's pass and take this victory on the assumption that our opponent is about to pass and give us this one. Unless he wants to play additional cards, which it appears as though he does. Now, if he's willing to overinvest in this round and burn through all of his cards, as he is starting to do, then I'm okay with that. I feel like he's still going to fall short, but this is rather odd. Oh, and then he's going to... Oh no, he's going to clear all weather effects. Why the heck is he doing that? And then, what is he doing? What the heck? He just played all but one of his cards when he had no chance of catching us. And then played his leader ability as well. Basically just handed us a victory there. What I thought he was doing was that he was ultimately going to play the weather card to make everyone in the melee row drop down to 1, and then he's gonna be like, haha, you thought you had it. But, well, he cleared all weather effects when there weren't any weather effects instead. So that was strange. Also, if he did use that effect to lower everyone in the melee row to 1 strength, then he still wouldn't have had to have played all those other cards. That made no sense at all, what he just did. But we're still, despite the fact that he only has 1 card, we still don't have a lot to work with here. Theoretically, we should just be able to play these 3 unit cards and win. Because, you know, his last remaining card is a weather effect. What the heck is this guy's deal? Well, there were times when we were playing the previous guy, the nobleman, a ways back, who beat us time after time, when I was wondering, what is it like to play against the CPU when it comes to games of Gwent? Are they actually going to play smart? Are they not? And on this occasion, they did what might have quite possibly been the most absurd possible thing, and just absolutely handed us that win. Alright, we got crowns. Yes, did we get any cards? We did. Our new item, Stefan Scale. Oh, yeah, I think that is a card. Okay, hold on. Let's take a look. Let's deck. Did we? Oh, you know what? I bet it's not Northern Realms. This is Scoia'tael. Oh, interesting. Zoltan can be in Scoia'tael as well. Monsters. Zoltan can all... Okay, Zoltan, I'm assuming, is, in that case, just a neutral. I was gonna say, it makes sense if he's Northern Realms. It makes sense if he's Scoia'tael. Those are 2 groups that he's kind of affiliated with. But monsters, no, definitely not. Nilfgaardians, I think we've gotten several Nilfgaardian cards. This is the one that we just picked up. It's a 9? And it's a spy. Oh, it's a 9 spy. Wow. Place on your opponent's side of the battlefield and draw 2 cards. So it is basically, again, like we were seeing our opponent do earlier, it is more or less handing your opponent the victory for 1 round in order to give yourself additional ammunition for future rounds. So there's certainly a case to be made for using a card like that. But I still think we are low enough on cards of any other group. Oh, I'm pretty sure that was a type of crafting material that we were hoping to get. Okay, Temeria, a land where milk and honey once flowed. And what did she wrong the gods that they should treat her so cruelly? Pearl of the North to some, she proved a galloping range for Nilfgaardian cavalry to others. As a country, it had survived 2 previous wars against the Empire. I remember the war back with Nilfgaard. It was here that the war's bloodiest battles were fought. It was in Temeria where their most bestial deeds were wrought. It was Temerian civilians who bore the full brunt of these wars' horrors. And bear them that we did, bravely and steadfastly, until the demise of our great protector, King Foltest. Then Providence turned its fickle face from Temeria. Murdered most treacherously, Foltest failed to leave Temeria a worthy successor. I feel like we've read this. We definitely have. And so all manner of cur soon fell upon her, tearing her apart like so much carrion. She had no more allies then. None remembered that we had once been the armor protecting the North from the designs of the mad dancer, he who had the gravestones of his foes pounded into the ballroom floor. A weak and independent Temeria is no more. A dark-faced sun looms over her every rampart. Yet we Temerians live on. We always will. As long as folk believe, the usurper who took our beloved capital, Vizima, to treat as his property, will forever peer over his shoulder in fear. For in the shadows lurks not one dagger, but the power of a nation of daggers, waiting to deal justice's blow. Yeah, I feel like we've seen that before. Here's the map. While conducting studies under the guidance of Professor Slavko Atemstein, I happened across 4 places, where carved engravings portraying the sign of the Cat School of Witchers, don't think we've ever heard of them, could be found. All these pictograms are identical to that which we discovered in the caverns beneath the temple aisle in Novigrad. I've marked them on this map. Adalbert Hermith, adjunct in natural history at the Oxenford Academy. Okay. Yeah, I do not think we've ever seen mention of the cat school stuff. Although, apparently we may have already found... Oh, okay, that's the quest for it. I was going to say, maybe we've already found one of those things by happenstance. Royal Lineages of the North? We read this? Yes, I think. Cyrilla, Fiona, Ellen, Rhiannon, Thorn. Because I remember all these names that we couldn't pronounce. Princess of Bruges and Duchess of Sodden, heiress to Innis Ard Skellig, and Innis and Skellig, and suzerain of Atter and Ab Yara. Yeah, definitely read that already. I don't know why it's showing up as something new then. I mean, obviously we're just picking up a copy of that book, I think. But I'm a little surprised that it doesn't treat it as if, okay, you've seen that book once, and now we're just basically not gonna give it to you again. Because that's sort of along the lines of things we've seen in other circumstances.
Greetings.
Salutations! Whither do you come from, and where will you go?
I
Hard to say.
don't know.
Seen a lot of the world and plan to see more.
As have I, as do I.
Okay. I suppose this is a dangerous place.
Not the best place for a traveling peddler.
Profits lie amidst risk. True, the wars brought strife and hardship, but folk live on, and where there is life, there is trade.
Prepared to risk your life for a bit of coin?
Coin, my friend, is of little import. Hard as I try, I simply cannot remain still, so I wander and wander the world. I see new places, speak with folk I've never known. It's what I like, and that's worth the risk.
On one hand, good for you. On the other hand, be careful, man. It is dangerous out here.
Take a peek if you don't mind.
Don't take that out of context. Steel plates. Some of these things, I don't know if coal is useful for crafting purposes, but I'm assuming steel plates says master item, and I don't really know what that means at this stage. That does sound like that might be a potential useful crafting item of some variety. We could have potentially sold, what was it? Some of our beast furs, I think, might be some of our things that are valuable enough that maybe they're worth more in coins than they are in crafting materials. So, like, I'm thinking maybe not so much with the goat hide, but the bear hide seems like that's valuable enough that that might be better to sell that for 96. That's not bad. That's something. White wolf pelt for 12. Something. And oh, the other thing is, I was seeing you guys say, I think that some of the items you can actually sell at different values to different vendors. Like, for example,
I know this.
Maybe. Like, for example, if you sell weapons to a weaponsmith, it's worth more. Speaking of weaponsmiths, is this the guy we were just playing at Gwent, or is this someone else?
Yeah?
This is definitely someone else.
Special order weapons too.
Do politicians murder high-class prostitutes? Course.
Okay. Ah, you can also play Gwent!
I'll take a look.
We'll get there in a
Maybe
minute.
Something.
Let's see what he has, though. Ooh. Perhaps. Second map. Okay. Also a bit intriguing. So, if we were, planning on selling weapons, presumably this would be the person to sell those weapons to. And are we holding on to anything that we would like to dump? I think so. I mean, this is worth 4 coins, so I can only imagine what it would have been worth if we were to try to sell it to someone who is not a weaponsmith. But, okay. Yeah, so maybe on the low items, the low-level items, doesn't make a huge difference, but okay, now if we're starting to talk about 42 coins, getting a certain percentage difference might actually be somewhat significant. Otherwise, it's like, okay, it's the equivalent of fighting one wolf and selling the pelts from that one wolf. In which case, let's just sell those things to whoever is willing to buy them at any given point in time and not be too concerned about min-maxing and making it so that we are selling things to the people who are purchasing them for the most, buying things from people who are selling things for the least. I don't know if that's a thing. May or may not. But at least at this stage, seems like it's not a huge difference. Let's take the second map, on the assumption that that will also give us something useful here. And crafting recipes. Stones. I was gonna say, I felt like maybe not strictly necessary at this point in time, because there are a lot of recipes here. Some of them cost 6 coins, in which case, not bad at all. Maybe we just take it because it's almost nothing. Probably means the item that we would craft with it is also pretty terrible. Like Novigrad Longsword, I think, is one of the ones that we've seen in the past that is typically pretty terrible, although it does say requires level 5, and the damage listed there. Can we actually do a quick comparison and see? The sword that we currently have, or actually we're using an axe for a steel weapon, is 67 to 81 damage, whereas it's a 67, so that's on average probably a little less. That looks amazing, but requires level 16. So yeah, some of these things, I think we might just be better off holding off for a little bit. We could purchase the diagrams for now and just stockpile them, yes, but from a cash flow standpoint, it is actually preferable to make sure that we have as many coins on us as possible, so that when we need to purchase something expensive, we are able to do so, and only purchase things when we need them. Kinda. Probably not going to make a huge difference, but I think we can hold off for now, is basically what I'm getting at. And what I do wonder is, might there be crafting items that are worth picking up at this stage? But I think it's a similar story there, where I'm not aware of us needing anything yet to do that. We could potentially take a closer look at some of the crafting recipes that we have picked up and see if there's anything that we feel might be worth crafting, in which case it might be worth taking a closer look and seeing if there's anything that we need to pick up to make that a reality. Let's see. Could repair stuff. Out of curiosity, how expensive is it to repair stuff? It is. Whoa. You serious? That's not so expensive. These ones, I mean, they are pretty damaged, yes. I assume that's why they're so expensive, but at the same time, that just seems like the value that we're getting for getting, like, one additional armor, maybe a little bit more than that, for 100 coins, that doesn't seem so worthwhile to me. That, again, as we've mentioned several times, seems more so like something where our current gear is pretty disposable. None of this stuff is very good. So, honestly, I would rather, like, just sell our existing gear and use stuff that we have on us at the moment to replace it that has higher durability and just cycle through until we find something that we feel like we really want. Like, for example, if we wanted to repair one of these relic items, maybe that is a little more meaningful on the assumption that they're better. The damage is not fantastic with this, but it does have those 3 sockets. That might be a reason to try to invest in some other things to get some runes to put in those sockets, upgrade the weapon. But again, I just kind of feel like at this point we don't have, well, we did have those slavers that we were fighting recently, the Nilfgaardian deserters. And they were a bit of a challenge, but I'm not sure that this is going to be the answer. So, yes, I suppose, dismantling some things, though. That we should do. This panel lets you dismantle unwanted items and recover some of the components they are made of. Yes. Okay, so let's do this. Items are shown here. Yes, I'm familiar with the items we have here. Shows which components will be recovered after dismantling an item. Ah, silver swords give silver ore. That makes sense. It shows how much it will cost to dismantle them. It does cost to dismantle. That's how much you'll have to pay. Wow. I mean, understandable, I suppose. It's like, you know, we're asking this salesperson to this person to do this job for us, and so I shouldn't really be expecting them to do it for free. I suppose that makes sense. But at the same time, it just feels like, again, the value is less than I was expecting. If we're getting the crafting materials, yes, but is it worth it to pay for that dismantling cost? To dismantle selected item, press A. The item is fitted with any upgrades. They will be recovered. Okay, good. It's not like we'll accidentally throw away some useful upgrades if we were to accidentally throw something in there that we didn't mean to. Okay, so like paying 4 coins to get ashes, presumably not worthwhile. Timber, maybe. Sure. We'll give that a shot. Timber, if you then proceed to dismantle, gives more ashes. That makes sense. Okay, so the hides give leather scraps. That, I'm assuming, is something that we will eventually find helpful. Okay. But I see that we had 2 goat hides, but we got 9 leather scraps out of it. So we're getting much more in the crafting materials than we had in terms of items. I can't see what this gives. Timber? 14? Okay. We're gonna have a crazy amount of timber, it seems. You know, if it were a 1-for-1 exchange, basically, then I would be a little more concerned about the value of it. Would feel like it's maybe not a great idea to do it. I don't know if rope is better or twine and resin are better. Let's leave it as rope for the time being. Hardened timber. That sounds better. Cured leather. That was a little bit more expensive. But I don't think we have fur scrap. I don't think we've ever seen that. Horse hide. When did we get that? It's a little disturbing. Hardened leather. Which we don't have any of. Also assuming that is a useful crafting component, although that's... it costs 27. And then... oh, was it saying that the value of the item that we're getting out of it is worth 140? What was that 140 coming from? Can we look at what this gives? Glass? Okay, sure. Alright. Let's just do it. Seashell. Black Pearl. Mythical quest to the Isle of Tortuga? Possibly. Possibly. Yeah, we've never seen one of those before. So, yes, we are blowing through a bit of our money at the moment, but hopefully this gives us some useful crafting materials that, once we do feel like we want to craft some things, becomes a little more feasible to do that. Ooh. Okay, I'm a little hesitant, however, to do it with rarer items like valuable metals or this relic monster hide. I feel like might be worth holding on to just in case. Those might be better as is, I suspect. Ruby probably better than ruby dust, or at least if and when we do need the ruby dust, we can hold on to it. Or yeah, we can hold on to the ruby and then make that conversion when we need to. Oh, I was looking at the 130 before, and or the 140 before, and I'm pretty sure that was the... I was looking at the value, basically the amount of coins that the trader has. Anything else that might be worth dumping or well, turning into something else? Resin turns into sap. Huh. Or are we better off keeping things as they currently are? Nails? I don't know if you actually want nails as is, or if it's better in another form. Coal is probably better than ashes. Red goes to cotton. Oh man, lots of stuff we can mess with here. Griffin's egg again. I'm going to assume that that is best to hold on to. Wire. Also don't know if that's usable as is. Yeah. So I think most of this other stuff I'm going to hold on to as is, just in case. That hopefully gives us a fair share of usable crafting materials, and then these two things that turn into ash are presumably junk. As for other weapons, how expensive are they generally to turn into weapons and armor, to turn into components? Somewhat expensive, comparatively speaking. Which I suppose shouldn't be much of a surprise, because it does seem like they're returning a fair bit more. But good to know. Good to know. Okay. So there we go. That's dismantling. Can remove and upgrade. We can repair. Like I was saying, that seems maybe like we're better off just buying new stuff or crafting new stuff rather than repairing our not so great stuff and throwing some money away to upgrade what is basically cardboard. Is there anything else? Oh, right. We've already checked the stock, so that's cool. And then we also basically asked him if he wanted to craft. Well, did we? I guess we didn't. Let's take a quick look here.
Got this diagram. Think you can forge the weapon?
Creating items. On the left side of the screen is a list of crafting diagrams in your possession. Scroll through, select a category or diagram. Okay. The right side of the screen is a detailed description of the currently selected item. Okay, should I be a little concerned that the currently selected item is an amateur blacksmith? I don't want to craft the blacksmith. Okay. Center of the screen shows the components needed to create this item. Okay. Craftsmen need to eat too. To have them craft an item, you must pay them for their services. If you have enough coin, press A to craft the item. You need to find a craftsman with the right specialty, armor, blacksmith, etc., the type of item you wish to craft, and with enough skill to craft an item of its quality. Ah, so like this guy being an amateur means that we can't give him something really complicated to make. Understandable, but potentially inconvenient. We're like, oh, we just got this amazing stuff that we want to make, and turns out that the only people we know are all amateurs. Well, looks like we just need to get acquainted more with high society, if you will. I'm sure we'll find other people when we need them who are more skilled at those trades. But anyways, some items can be dismantled in order to obtain new crafting components. Yep, that's what we were just doing. To dismantle an item, go to the craftsman and use the dismantle panel. Step ahead of you. Okay, so some of these are crafting materials. Or like, you know, we're crafting higher level crafting materials. Whoa, I did not mean to do that. Somehow I got scrolling all the way down. Craftsman has a component you're missing. You can buy it immediately. Oh. And press Y. Okay. Yeah, I don't actually know why it did the super speedy scroll. I didn't have my hand on the controller at the time. Well, not on the analog stick. I don't know why that happened. But anyway, so things we can do. Cured leather, hardened timber, iron ingots, leather scraps. So, what, leather scraps are better than... Huh? You can make linen from thread, okay. So I don't know, this is kind of similar to what we were talking about earlier, a ways back, with the mutagens, is I don't necessarily know if it's always best to quote-unquote trade up. Like, should we convert every single thread we have into linen, or is it still worthwhile to have some thread lying around in case we need that at some point? Is there a crafting recipe of some variety that requires some thread and not linen, or some combination of the two? So we might want to hold on to some of our lower level crafting things. Not just blow through them all immediately, as tempting as that may be on occasion. Could make silver ingots, that might be good, but that would be potentially one of those higher value things where I feel like might be worth waiting out a little bit to see if that is something we want to do immediately. This looks interesting. I think Seracanian powder is kind of like gunpowder. It might make it so that we would be able to craft a new kind of explosive. Although, let's take a look at what other options we have. Precision bolt on the crossbows. No damage. Okay, nice. What is this that we don't have? Monster feather. Okay. We can craft some junk. Yes. Would be potentially interested in crafting a silver sword upgrade. There is the Viper silver sword. It would be a damage upgrade. We need silver ingot. I do think we have the stuff to get that done. It is expensive, and it is an upgrade. 15 damage, a little bit of art intensity, chance of poison, bonus experience for monsters. That's actually a lot. Wow. You know, that part would seemingly add up a lot over time. Granted, it's a level 1 weapon. Is it worth investing in that right now? It may not. This is the cutlass that we purchased the diagram for just recently. So yeah, it is junk, as we anticipated based on the really cheap price. I think we could probably get these materials. I think we could craft it ourselves if we really wanted to. So that is an upgrade. A small upgrade as well, although a cheaper one. Oh no. Oh, I was again. Okay. Again, I was looking at the 415 and thinking that was the price. When actually this is a fourth of that price. And this is far less. That might be worthwhile. We have a Viper Steel Sword as well. How good is that? Damage downgrade. But does have a little bit, a smaller experience bonus, but a little bit of an experience bonus. And it does have the slot as well to put in a rune, which could potentially make it better still. To me, it seems like it is much harder to get silver weapons to drop, and therefore much harder to get the silver upgrades. How much is it to purchase this crafting component? Are you not willing to sell it to me? You may not be, but I'm pretty sure we can get it ourselves. So let's do this. Silver ingot. And where are you? I saw it. Can't fool me. Okay, let's craft it. I was not paying particularly close attention to how expensive it is. 17. Okay, that's not a ton. Didn't have to pay too much for it. The 104 is obviously a lot more, but hopefully this is an interesting item for us to have. And I'm hoping that if the damage isn't that significant of an upgrade, because, you know, if we were to repair our existing weapon, then maybe it would be roughly the same damage. The experience boost should at least be helpful as well. Now we'll play you in Gwent. Do business first, and then the gloves come off.
Up for a few rounds of Gwent?
Oh, totally, dude. Okay, no. Not Nilfgaardian. We are definitely still sticking with the Northern Realms. And I think we should be pretty good with our current setup. I think I'm fine with this. So let's start. And we go first again. Okay. So this guy is also running a Northern Realms deck. The guy that we played most recently was playing a Nilfgaardian deck, so we might expect to see similar things, similar cards to what we're currently using. So I see a lot of siege going on here. It's my first impression. And we do have the leader card that allows us to double the siege row. So that is nice. And we have these guys who give +1 to everyone in the siege row. Seems like they are probably much more useful this time around than they were in the last game for that reason. They have a lot of people to boost. And this guy previously was amazing for us when we got 3 of them. There's only 1 in our hand at the moment, so I think, well, actually, it's kind of just a better version of Sabrina, though, because they're both 4s, except this guy has an ability, whereas Sabrina does not. Torrential Rain does the siege row. That is definitely not what we want. We would like to have a different row, if anything. I did not see what we got in exchange. I think it was Sheldon. In which case we ultimately ended up getting a 4 for a 4. So, on net, no difference. Okay, so what I'm wondering is how aggressively we want to play this first round, because we do have a lot of stuff going on in the siege row. We have some big hitters with these guys, and then these guys are potentially valuable because they can give +1 to everyone in the siege row, but the more cards you have placed in the siege row, the more of a bonus you are getting on net. So they are best when you are investing heavily. And so what I'm wondering is that necessary? Should we deliberately play them last and play it by ear and see if we need to use them? And if we don't, then we'll hold on to them, and yeah, they're not great by themselves if we're just playing 2 of these guys in a ladder round with no other units to boost in that row. But that might still be the way to go, just to make sure that we aren't over-investing in the first round unnecessarily. Let's give it a shot. So, yeah, and for the same reason, let's not play our best siege unit first. We'll see what our opponent has in mind. Something very similar, it seems. We'll stick with it, and we will, of course, be investing heavily in the siege row. So we are in bad shape if our opponent chooses to do something with the siege row. But the thing is, he's also throwing everything in siege. He has Impenetrable Fog as his leader ability, which I believe, if I remember correctly, is the weather effect for the ranged row. So that's not a threat at the moment, unless we start throwing anyone in that ranged row. So I think we do fight fire with fire here. We could potentially deliberately try to pass here and make it so that our opponent has to play 3 cards to R2. He'll win the round, but we'll have a card advantage going forward. Is that a direction in which we want to go? I'm not sure, because then we're splitting up our siege guys, as we were talking about before, which ideally we wouldn't have to do. So I think it'd be best if we could win this round and be pretty certain that we're going to win this round. Oh, and he does play that. Hurts us and him. Granted, we have more units out there, so we are a little bit ahead of him, but still, definitely not good. So now I'm wondering, we could theoretically pass. We are still winning, so he would have to play 1 more card in order to beat us in this round, and then we would have a small card advantage in rounds 2 and 3. Or we could play 1 more and give ourselves a little bit of a buffer, which I'm leaning toward that. And I think I'm going to play a ranged card, because I think if he does use his leader ability, I'd kind of like for him to use all of his weather effects early on, so that that is no longer a factor. So if we can bait him into doing that right now, then I think that's okay. And for that reason, I'm not going to play our higher range card. I'm going to play our lower range card, or one of our 2 lower range cards, and see what he does here. He plays a 5, which does mean that we are drawing at the moment. We are tied. Now we're in a bit of a tricky situation, because yeah, we're we pass now, yes, he does still need to play another card to beat us. That might be the way to go. Because now we're at the point where I'm getting a little wary of how much we're investing in this round. Granted, our opponent is also investing really heavily. So if we can win this round, then we know that he's not going to have a lot for the next one. So I think this is going to be my last card in that case. We play this, and we hope that he passes here and gives us this victory. Oh, like that. So let's think here for a second. He has 5 cards remaining. We have 5 cards remaining. These siege engineers are becoming a bit of dead weight. We're looking to just barely eke out a few more strength. Then I think this is actually a good time to play them. Force our opponent to play additional cards, hopefully good cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to play our bad cards. Hope that our opponent plays their good cards, so that in rounds 2 and 3, we have better things remaining than they do. Regardless of whether or not we win this round, and we can still boost, even though there's the weather effect there. I was not sure if that was a thing. He's on 17, we're on 15. If we do this again, then we are in the lead, and we have played what would have otherwise been trash cards. That is definitely a trash card. So here I'm definitely going to pass. Because we need we need to have at least 2 unit cards for round... Well, how many cards does he have left? He has 3? Yeah, I think we can guarantee that we will win the next round if we hold on to at least the horn and one of these 2. Because we can double it, and then that will get us to 10 at the very least. If not 20 if we go all in on the next round. If our opponent wants to take this round, then they have to basically use all of their cards, and that is handing us the next round. So I think that's okay. I'm going to pass here. Let's see what they do. Also given a boost, so that's a tie. They will take the win in this first... Oh no, they're going to give us the win, maybe, possibly? I don't know. Okay. They did win, and they did play a spy, which is actually significant, because now they do have at least 2 cards. We do still have a card advantage, but it is not as significant as we might have anticipated. And we did take that risk when we played all those cards in that round, and then passed, assuming that you'd throw in the towel, or totally overinvest and not have anything remaining. Now, he has passed here and basically said, take this round, I'm going to wait to play everything in round 3. We have to win this round, though. Otherwise, we can't win best 2 out of 3. We play this, take round 2, and we hope that our doubled Kira is more than what he has with 3 cards. Oh, but we draw a card when we win a round as well. Okay, so that is quite big. Unfortunately, these guys are in separate rows, so we won't be able to double them both. Let's start with our smaller one, in case one of his remaining cards right now is a weather effect, and we can convince him to use it in this row. I'm also realizing we probably could have used our leader ability in round 1 to double our range row. I think that still works, even when there's the weather effect there. Not 100% sure. Okay, but now we'll play her. And then Horn is last. Which row is that? Oh, that's not the row we wanted. Oh, well, it is also hurting him as well. So, I mean, we are about to double that, and doubling 1 is a lot less than doubling 5, so that is unfortunate. But we do still have the melee card that's a 4. He does have 1 card remaining, so... Oh, actually, we can double the melee. Okay, so that is still better. Better than doubling this, which is what I was about to do. It's not as good as doubling the 5 that we would have had he not played the weather card, but I think this will still be more than enough for the victory. Yeah. I mean, we could play our hero ability if we really felt so inclined, but there we go. Suddenly, we're doing okay at this Gwent stuff.